Today we're going to learn 10 great English phrases from one of my favourite TV shows of all time, Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is a fantasy drama based on the books of George R.R. Martin. We're going to watch clips from the show and learn 10 really useful phrases that you can use in your spoken English. So if you're ready, let's take a trip to Westeros. Hey guys, I just want to take a quick moment to thank Skillshare for sponsoring this video. They are an online learning platform with a fantastic offer just for you. Now I'm going to tell you more about them later on. But first, let's learn some English. Okay guys, just a heads up, there are some spoilers in this video. So if you don't want to know what happens in some episodes of Game of Thrones, maybe skip this video.
I have to cut you in half. You'll do without a second thought.
That would make me the quarterman. Just doesn't have the same ring to it.
Okay, our first phrase, to have a ring to it. Now, this means to sound appealing. Let's work through what happened here. Okay, so we have Joffrey, who was the king at the time, and he says to Tyrion, his uncle, "I'll cut you in half." Now, some context, Tyrion is a dwarf, and they used to call him like a half man. So he says, well then I'd be the quarter man, right? Half, cut in half is a quarter. And then he says, that just doesn't have the same ring to it.
That would make me the quarterman. Just doesn't have the same ring to it.
So he's saying that name, the quarter man, doesn't sound as appealing as the half man. Now, he's of course being sarcastic, he's joking. But that phrase that he used there is to show that something sounds appealing, or in this case, doesn't sound appealing. Let me put that into another context for you. So perhaps I was like, Tom Rees, CEO. That's got a ring to it. That sounds appealing to me. I like the sound of that. Like Tom Rees, CEO. Yeah, that sounds good to me. So I would say that has a ring to it. Okay, let's put that into another context. Let's say you're going to a new city and you look on Airbnb and you see there's an area called Sunset Bay. You say, oh, Sunset Bay, that's got a nice ring to it. It sounds good to you. It sounds like somewhere that you'd like to go. Sunset Bay, yeah, that sounds great. It has a nice ring to it. Now, when you hear this phrase used, you might hear collocations with it. So a certain ring, has a certain ring to it, or nice, as I think I used in one of my examples. It has a nice ring to it. So we often insert those adjectives into the phrase when we say it.
I have to cut you in half. You'll do without a second thought.
That would make me the quarterman. Just doesn't have the same ring to it.
I expect you'll tell lies about me, about Joffrey.
Any lies in particular?
You're a clever man. But you're not half as clever as you think you are.
Still makes me more clever than you.
All right, this next phrase, Cersei says to Tyrion, "You're not half as clever as you think you are." Now, what she means there is you're not nearly as. Like, you think you're clever, but you're not. So not half as is the phrase. Then we insert the adjective, so in this case, clever, and then we finish the sentence. So you're not half as clever as you think you are. Now, it doesn't have to be clever. It could be any adjective in that spot. So we could say, having kids isn't half as easy as it looks. Having kids isn't half as easy as it looks. So having kids is not nearly as easy as some people might think, which of course, I don't think anyone thinks it's easy to have children. It's a hard job. Maybe you buy a new TV and you get it out and you're like, oh, it's not half as big as I thought it was going to be. It's not half as big as I thought it was going to be. It's not nearly as big as I thought it would be. It's much smaller than I thought it was going to be. So a nice little phrase, not half as, and then the adjective.
You're a clever man. But you're not half as clever as you think you are.
Perhaps it's time to go home. The South doesn't seem to agree with you.
Here we have Cersei again saying to Ned Stark, perhaps it's time to go home. The South doesn't seem to agree with you. Now, if something agrees with you, then it makes you feel happy, healthy, positive. In this situation, the situation we're talking about, Ned Stark, he's from the north of Westeros. He's now in the south and he's not very well. He's hurt, he's been attacked. Generally, he's having a bad time. So she's saying that the South doesn't seem to agree with you, that the South is not really making you happy, healthy, or feeling positive at all, which is an understatement to say the least, and probably a lot to do with her. Now, let's put that into another context. Maybe I go see my friend who has moved to the seaside, and I say, oh, I can see that living by the sea really agrees with you. I can see that living by the sea really agrees with you. It makes that situation, living by the sea, really makes you look happier, healthier, more positive. So if something agrees with you, it makes you feel much better in yourself. Now we can also use it for food, and often in a negative sense. So maybe if you're feeling a bit, strange, maybe you've got a stomach ache or you don't feel very well, you might say, oh, I think I ate something that didn't agree with me. So I think I ate something that is not making me feel healthy, it's making me feel unwell. So we could use it in that case. So yeah, I think I ate something that didn't agree with me. Oof. So yeah, a very interesting phrase that can be used in different situations.
Perhaps it's time to go home. The South doesn't seem to agree with you.
Guys, I just want to take a quick moment to talk about Skillshare, an online learning platform for creatives. I think we can all agree that 2020 wasn't the best year, but I'm proposing that we make 2021 the year of learning. I've been working with Skillshare for a number of years, and I'm a member of their platform. They offer thousands of classes for creatives and curious minds just like you and me. I've done lots of courses with them and I've learnt so much. You might have seen my last video where I talked about creating an Instagram brand to be proud of. I've also learned how to make the perfect toasted cheese sandwich. They have classes on photography, on cooking, on animation, on graphic design. There's so much there to learn. The latest course that I've done is a knife skills course. Now that might sound a bit crazy, but actually it was so useful. I cook every day and I chop vegetables, but I don't really know how to do it properly. So this course taught me how to chop safely, that's the most important thing, and quickly and properly. Like, I'd never known how to do it. So the key thing is the bear claw, right? You've got to put the bear claw down, and this protects your fingertips for when you are chopping. Then you keep the tip of the knife on the chopping board and you have a kind of rocking, rolling motion. Who knew? Genius. Now the course was short, it was really well produced and super informative. I learned everything I needed to know in like 15 minutes. And this is a life skill that I'm going to take with me every time I cook. Amazing. So, Skillshare are offering the first 1,000 Eat Sleep Dreamers free trial of their premium membership if you sign up below. How incredible is that? You'll get access to all the courses. So hit that link below, guys, sign up, and then let me know how it goes. All right, let's get back to Game of Thrones.
And your son, if I'm not mistaken, your son might be the Lord of Casterly Rock and the North someday.
If I'm not mistaken, if I'm not mistaken. Now this phrase is said by Marjorie to Sansa, and she's talking about Sansa's son being the Lord of Casterly Rock. And we use this phrase to show that we are certain about something. So if I'm not mistaken, and then I'll introduce my opinion that I believe to be true.
And your son, if I'm not mistaken, your son might be the Lord of Casterly Rock.
So here she's saying that, if I'm not mistaken, your son will be the Lord of Casterly Rock. Okay, let's put that into another example. If I'm not mistaken, the next election will be in 3 years' time. If I'm not mistaken, the next election will be in 3 years' time. So you believe that what you are saying to be true, that you are fairly certain. So if I'm not mistaken, and then what you want to say. It's quite a polite phrase, quite formal. Certainly you might use it in spoken English and possibly in written English as well.
And your son, if I'm not mistaken, your son might be the Lord of Casterly Rock and the North someday.
You spend too much time worrying about what other people think of you.
I could care less what anyone thinks of me.
Okay, this one is a controversial one. So Tywin says to Jaime, his son, that he shouldn't worry too much about what people think about him. And Jaime Lannister says, I could care less. Now what he means here is that their opinions are not important to him, that he doesn't care what people think about him. But he says, I could care less. Now, this is an example of American English, that I disagree with. Because in British English, we would say, I couldn't care less. I couldn't care less, right? That's what we would say in this situation. So if Tywin says to Jaime, you care too much about what people think, if it was in British English, Jaime would say, I couldn't care less. It's not important to me. But, because this is an American show, in the script, they said, I could care less, which doesn't make any sense to me. Now, I'm not going to go on about this point in this video. I've made a whole video about this point. I could care less versus I couldn't care less. You can click and watch that video and make up your own mind. Let's put it into another example. So, to be honest, I couldn't care less who wins the Premier League this year. I couldn't care less who wins the Premier League this year. So I don't care. It's not important to me. Yeah.
You spend too much time worrying about what other people think of you.
I could care less what anyone thinks of me.
We've guarded the kingdoms for 8,000 years.
Is it we already? Have you taken your vows then?
Soon enough.
Give my regards to the Night's Watch.
In this scene, Jaime Lannister is talking to Jon Snow. You know nothing, Jon Snow. Jon Snow is about to join the Night's Watch. So he is saying to him, give my regards to the Night's Watch. Now, if you give someone your regards, you're basically saying, it's a greeting, right? You're saying hello to them. So he's asking Jon Snow to say hello to the Night's Watch. Give my regards to the Night's Watch. So maybe I'm chatting with my friend and they are off to see their parents, and I say, oh, you know, give my regards to your parents. Like, say hi from me is another way of saying it. There are other ways to say this as well, like, please pass on my regards to your parents when you see them. Or, please send my love to your parents when you see them. It's not always parents, it could be anyone, friends, family, whatever. But yeah, a couple of nice phrases there to pass on your greetings to someone.
Give my regards to the Night's Watch.
Monsters are dangerous, and just now kings are dying like flies.
Okay, this is a fun one. Tyrion, again, one of my favourite characters, I won't lie, says to Joffrey, the king, that kings are dying like flies right now. Kings are dying like flies. Now, it's a bit of a corruption of the original phrase, which would be to drop like flies or to go down like flies. Now, if people are dropping like flies, they're either getting ill or they are dying very quickly. So in this example, Tyrion says to Joffrey that kings are dying like flies. He's saying that lots of kings are dying very quickly, and so he should be worried. I think one or two had died before this scene. So he's saying, you know, be careful, like kings are dying like flies. It's a threat. In this example, it's a threat to King Joffrey to be careful. But yeah, we wouldn't use it in that case. We would say, for example, there's been a case of the norovirus at work and people are dropping like flies. There's a case of the norovirus at work and people are dropping like flies. They are becoming ill. So lots of people are becoming ill very quickly. They are dropping like flies.
Monsters are dangerous, and just now kings are dying like flies.
You love your children. It's your one redeeming quality, that and your cheekbones.
Tyrion, again, this time talking to his sister Cersei, and he says to her, you love your children. That's your one redeeming quality. Now, a redeeming quality is a positive quality or feature that maybe offsets some more negative qualities in someone. So Tyrion doesn't particularly like his sister. He thinks that she has many bad qualities, but her redeeming quality is that she loves her children. So this is one positive amongst many negatives. It could be, as a collocation, it could be redeeming quality, redeeming feature, redeeming characteristic. Those all work in this situation. An example sentence: if I'm honest, Donald Trump doesn't seem to have many redeeming features. So Donald Trump doesn't seem to have many redeeming features.
You love your children. It's your one redeeming quality, that in your cheekbones.
Okay, let's continue with this complicated relationship between Tyrion and Cersei, so brother and sister.
If I were capable of tricking father, I'd be emperor of the world by now. You brought this on yourself.
I've done nothing.
Quite right, you did nothing.
Okay, so Cersei hates Tyrion. In this scene, Tyrion has become, he's been put into a powerful position, and Cersei hates this. And Tyrion is saying, you brought it on yourself. That means you caused this negative situation. You caused this negative situation. It's your fault that this has happened. So if you bring something on yourself, you are the cause of this negative thing. It could be upon as well. We have on or upon. So to bring something upon yourself. Let's expand this idea. So another example sentence. The terrible actions of the government have brought shame upon the country. The terrible actions of the government have brought shame upon the country. So to explain that, the country, the nation, feels shame because of the actions of the government. So it's a phrase that we use to talk about the cause of something negative. Let me put that into another example. My behavior at the Christmas party brought embarrassment on the whole family. My behavior at the Christmas party brought embarrassment on the whole family. So my actions caused embarrassment for my family. So it's a great little phrase that you can use if you want to talk about the cause of a negative situation. And in this case, Cersei is the cause of her own misery, really.
If I were capable of tricking father, I'd be emperor of the world by now. You brought this on yourself.
I've done nothing.
Quite right, you did nothing.
You are very welcome here, Lady Stark. I'm so sorry for your loss. You were most kind.
Okay, in the final phrase, I'm so sorry for your loss. Marjorie says this to Catelyn Stark, who has lost her husband. Now, this is a really polite and formal way to express your sympathy for someone's loss. So if they have a loved one that has died, a way that we express our sympathy is to say, I'm so sorry for your loss.
You are very welcome here, Lady Stark. I'm so sorry for your loss. You were most kind.
Okay, what I want you guys to do is put one of these phrases into the comments below. Use it in an example sentence. I'll come down and check it out. Please remember to hit that link for Skillshare. Go sign up and get your free premium trial. And if you want more English learning videos just like this one, here are 2 perfect suggestions that I recommend to you. Alright guys, thank you so much. This is Tom, the Chief Dreamer, saying goodbye.